What's up guys, Delzinski here, and we're back with another WWE2K14 roster concept video. This time round we're going to be looking at the managers who could potentially be in this year's game. Now, with the information coming out about the 30 years of WrestleMania game mode, we have had some managers actually confirmed, and they will be featured in this concept. So let's take a look at which managers I think will be featured in this year's game. So first of all, Bobby Heenan. Now Bobby is confirmed for this year's game, as we have seen the screenshots of him coming down the aisle with the late and great Andre the Giant. So Bobby Heenan is in for WWE2K14. Next up is Miss Elizabeth, once again confirmed for this year's game, as we have seen her on the shoulders of the Macho Man Randy Savage, and also in the ring with Hulk Hogan during the 30 years of WrestleMania game mode. So Miss Elizabeth is in. Now, I haven't seen any screenshots or promotional detail for this next man, but surely with the inclusion of Yokozuna in the 30 years of WrestleMania game mode, we will have to see his manager, Mr. Fuji. Next up, well, you can't have a manager's roster without the inclusion of the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Quite possibly, if not the most recognised manager in wrestling history, just for simply that megaphone. So all that's left to say is, come on baby, come on! Well, I did say Jimmy Hart was one of the, if not the most recognised wrestling managers of all time, but this man right here is not far off either, the late and great Paul Bearer, and I really can't wait to see him escorting The Undertaker to the ring one more time in WWE2K14. So from the past we bring it right up to the present with one of the most outspoken managers in wrestling today. Yes, we're talking about Mr. ECFW himself, Paul Heyman. Can't say much here apart from yeah, it's Ricardo Rodriguez. Oh dear. So we go from Rodrigo to the sensational one, Sensational Sherri, and she could be partnered up with numerous superstars. We could look at HBK, or we could go for some extra content for the Macho Man Randy Savage and have her managing the Macho King. Okay, this is a personal favourite of mine. 2K, please, please, please make it possible for the Slickster to be featured in WWE 2K14. How about some DLC content of the Big Boss Man and possibly Akeem? This might make it possible for Slick to be in this year's game. And last but not least, it's the man that's leading those fine Americans, Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter. So all that's left to say is put your hand on your heart and say it with me: we the people. So there you have it. These are the potential managers which I think could be featured in this year's game. Now some of them have already been announced, and the others I don't think it would be too difficult to slot them in to WWE 2K14. Now there are some superstars which have already been announced for the 30 years of WrestleMania game mode, but in the past these superstars have also been managers. There are also some divas who will be in this year's game but could also again be classed as a manager. So I feel it's only fair that these superstars and divas get a mention in this concept. There's also a couple of managers who really I'm a bit optimistic about. I don't think they'll be in this year's game, but I wanted to throw them in there anyway. So here are the extras which I would like and possibly we will already see in this year's WWE 2K14. The $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Now Ted DiBiase is an active superstar in this year's game, as he has been featured in the 30 years of WrestleMania game mode. But how about if we had the option to also select him as a manager as well? Because he could bring back the $1 Million Corporation and escort King Kong Bundy to the ring. Excuse me. It's Vickie Guerrero. Now Vickie was featured on my Divas roster, but she could also be classed as a manager as well, as she could escort the late great Eddie Guerrero to the ring, or Dolph Ziggler when he acquired her services a little while ago within the WWE. Yes. It's a long shot, I know, but it could happen. Although, I don't really think that 2K will be allowing any manager, or superstar for that matter, to F somebody with a beer bottle in the arse. So it makes the Iron Sheik's inclusion in this year's game highly unlikely. However, good old Sheiky baby did have a spell when he was alongside Sergeant Slaughter in his feud with Hulk Hogan, so could we see the Iron Sheik escorting Sergeant Slaughter to the ring in WWE2K14? I can hear the whistles ringing through my ears now. That's right, it's Bill Alfonso. Now with the return of RVD to the WWE, Mr. Monday Night is most definitely going to be featured in WWE 2K14. So will we see Rob Van Dam escorted to the ring by Bill Alfonso in this year's game? I think that would be pretty epic to have an old ECW reunion between these two. Speaking of extreme, for the women of wrestling, it don't get much more extreme than Luna Vachon. So if Bam Bam Bigelow is announced at any point in the roster for WWE 2K14, we could very well see Luna Vachon walking him down the aisle. A Bam Bam Luna wedding? Sounds a bit mental to me. But anyway, that's another story. He was the mouthpiece for the Legion of Doom for quite some time. That's right, it's Paul Ellering. What a rush! Are you guys going to get a rush if Paul Ellering is in WWE 2K14? And last but not least, he introduced us to The Undertaker, and he also introduced us to I Love You. It's the man, the love doctor, that is Brother Love. So guys, let me know what you think of my manager roster concept. As I mentioned, some of these managers have already been confirmed, some could easily be slotted into this game, and some I'm rather optimistic about. So it just leaves to be said, please rate, comment and subscribe, and as per usual, this is Delzinski signing out.